this video is going to focus on your glutes. We're looking more specifically at our lateral hip stability. So really good if you're someone who has knock knees when you're squatting or knock knees when you're running, or you get that little hip drop, so you're what we call a Trendelenburg sign. So you can use it as just a warm-up routine for your running, but also great at just trying to wake these muscles up. So when they're a little bit sleepy and perhaps not doing the role that we want them to do, it's just going to kickstart them and bring them into action. So start lying down on your side. So all you need is your mat and yourself. Sideline position is quite important to being able to target these muscles. So quite commonly people can do thousands and thousands of clams and just not feel it in the right area, and that's often due to position. So when you lie down, most important thing is you don't just sink your waist down. So we all just tend to flop into this sort of fetal position. It's quite comfy, quite cozy. But I want you to try and keep lots of length through your waist. So lifting your lower waist up slightly, almost creating like a little mouse hole there. So that's point one. And the second thing is to try and stack the hips one on top of the other so that they're not rolling forwards or backwards. And the third and final thing, which is quite important, is that we all tend to tuck our bottoms under. And when we do that, we lengthen our glutes and it makes them quite tricky to work. So just ever so slightly tailbone out, so a small inward curve at the base of your spine. So we've got 4 different exercises. The first one, you're going to keep your heels together, glue them together, and just hover them off the mat slightly without your waist moving. It's a sequence where you're only going to lift your knee and then lower your knee, so it's a clam. I want you to give your heels a little bit of a squeeze each time you lift your knee up and down. And make sure as you lower the knee down, it's nice and slow. So that's your first minute, okay? So just lifting on the out breath, lowering on the in breath, and just isolating this movement to your hips so there's no movement anywhere else. For your second sequence or second exercise, you're just going to add a kick onto the end. So we're building a little bit more endurance. So we lift, kick, heels, and lower. And again, there's no movement here. We've kept our little mouse hole. We're not leaning forwards or backwards. And the extra thing to think about here is now length. So you want to reach that leg away, really point your toes. That's your second minute. And then your third minute, we're going to lower the heels down, reach your top leg out straight. So really accentuate that reach now, lengthen out this top waist. In breath, lower down, tap the floor. Out breath, lift up, but without your back joining in. So if you go too high, you see your waist wants to lift and lower. So you're only going as far as you can without that waist moving. If that feels too heavy, or the leg feels like it's quite heavy to lift, just bend at the knee, do the same thing. Okay, so you have 2 options there. And then for your final exercise, we're going to work through a clam, but our full range. So heels will stay down. You start with a clam, but then as your knees come together, we're going to lift your top heel, your top heel up, and then you're going to glue the heels together, and the knees come together. So you're working it through its full range. It's really important that as your knees come together, that's slow and controlled. And again, there's no movement here. Okay, so that's 4 minutes. Once you've done it on one side, you can turn around and do exactly the same thing on the other side. And enjoy.